Football is the most popular sport in the world. I am ready to bet that in your youth, you probably had a ball between your feet at least once. As a result, football is the most popular sport worldwide, most followed and most played. It has been more than a century that this sport continues to shine and be tied with our society. It has been more than a century that football has been making people dream and bring people closer, as seen in the World Cup. This sport has been transmitted from family to parents to their kids. They spend so much time on it that they begin to think that their club or country is theirs and they make part of it. They aren't lying, if it was a couple decades back. But now football has changed. People who have been supporting clubs for decades have been stolen their time and effort.
So it's not a sport of the success is already guaranteed. It's not a sport and it doesn't matter if you lose.
I always said, what defines the top six? So clearly it must be money.
That if you televised the game, the live fans wouldn't go. They'd stay at home and watch it on TV.
People had their clubs stolen. After World War I, football became the next big thing. Football then becomes a new tool for the rich. A social tool, a political tool, and an economic tool. Football generates money and sells. The more people are watching it, the more money it makes. And during the 80s, clubs finally understood the football business. They began to increase prices in shirts, tickets, and TV rights. TV companies began to start battling each other for TV rights, which after we saw a price increase in subscriptions. And then big clubs begin to fight for sponsors, and then they simply fight for money and more money. And then that affects you. To them, you become a simple viewer with no feelings, no emotions, and you still pay to watch their matches, or others find other ways to watch without paying, through illegal streams. Then big clubs started to get worried of illegal streams, which they technically caused by themselves. And at that point, big leagues asked themselves a question. Do we want to make a fair tournament, or do we let the big clubs pass so we can have more money? This is where cheating came. Leagues began to be scripted. Even the World Cup got influenced. I even started to think if Argentina cheated their way to victory. The way they first lost to Saudi Arabia to make the story more trustable, and then the close match against the Netherlands, plus the final intense match against France, I don't even know anymore. UEFA got even more influenced. They wanted to make the Super League, which was only for the big clubs, that means more money. But they didn't succeed at that. But that means the Champions League is going to get even more influence. The new format is composed of 36 teams, which gives more matches, which means more money again. With also 4 wildcards, which is going to bring even more money. Wildcards means teams from other countries. And with UEFA raising the limit of how much money a club can use, big clubs became overpowered. Before 1996, clubs were only allowed to have 3 players not from the country.
After '89, I think that followed this period of reflection in which they decided we will remake the game.
Now it's free for all. Who has more money buys better players, and better players bring better performance, which brings more viewers and more money. Football is becoming like F1. The teams like Red Bull and Mercedes would represent, in this case, Manchester City and Barcelona, for example. Football is becoming pay to win. This is where small clubs are suffering. They become a simple academy where bigger clubs can shop players as they wish, because small clubs are forced to sell their players for the financial stability, or they have 2 options: disappear or get bought by bigger clubs, corporates, or rich people. And if you go down that path, you're gonna lose all your fan base. For example, Højlund in Manchester United. He came from Atalanta, a small club in Italy, who was forced to sell him. Again, Dortmund sold Bellingham to Real Madrid, and then big clubs keep the better players and small clubs keep the less capable players. And then you have big teams like Chelsea and PSG who have an insane team of like more than 30 players, which they don't need, and then they continue with wasting the potential of multiple players. For example, in Chelsea, Lukaku could have a better career than that. Same thing for Ziyech, who was benched for the majority of games, who were capable of accomplishing insane plays if they had the chance, or at least sent to another club. A recent example is Abde Azzouli at Barcelona. He is an absolute mind-blowing player, but Xavi doesn't let him play much. He got sent on loan on Osasuna and almost won a Copa del Rey just because of him. but they faced a strong Real Madrid. He is more capable than Joao Felix, who Barcelona just bought him and sent Abde on loan to Real Betis. And for dreamers who want to get pro, it's not a matter of skill anymore. You have to pay an insane amount of money for the academy and equipment and all of that. And if you don't make it, you just lost your crucial time in your teenagers and money. Football has truly become a business, it really is. To conclude, I just hope that you have a good time connecting with your club and your team, but the vast majority experience it in front of their TV, which I respect completely, but I feel like clubs have lost some of their values like their amazing clout they had before. That's it for today, see you next time.